Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Up Supercast Game Club. My name is Brandon, and people keep asking if we're back, and I haven't really had an answer, but now, yeah, I'm thinking that we're back. And joining me today is Ilse.
It's just a fucking dog.
And Noah.
No dogs were harmed in the making of this game.
Thank God. Because this week we played John WIck Hex.
Yay.
Picked by Ilse.
True.
And John WIck Hex is an action strategy game. And it was developed by Bithell Games and published by Good Shepherd Entertainment. And it was released on October 8th, 2019 on PC. And then was later released on May 5th, 2020 on the PS4. So PS4 port actually just came out not too long ago, a couple months ago, 2 months ago. So, wow. And also, October 8th, the same exact day that the last game that we played, Ukulele The Impossible Lair, came out.
Yep.
So, crazy. And we didn't plan this, everybody, but we really didn't.
Sometimes that's just the way fate is.
Yeah, it is. It's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
But we played John WIck Hex. Obviously, it's part of based on the John Wick film franchise. Which, if you don't know about those movies, where you been? First of all. Second of all, go stop listening to this podcast. Go watch them, and then come back.
I feel
to the
that
podcast.
was targeted to me because I literally did not watch any of the movies before, even play this game. And thank you, Ilse, for recommending me to watch the movies first.
Good.
I did really like them. They were really cool.
I'm glad you watched them.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're definitely worth watching for sure. And if you haven't seen them, by the way, there might be some light spoilers because I'm sure we'll reference the movies here and there. So I really do suggest that you watch those movies. One, because they're fantastic, and two, we don't really want to spoil anything. Not that we're going to drop major spoilers or anything, but we'll be referencing the movies. So go watch those goddamn movies because they're awesome. Mm-hmm. And
True.
The John Wick movies starring Keanu Reeves, by the way, who is he's breathtaking.
He's breathtaking.
Yes.
You know it.
Ilse, so you picked this game, and why don't you tell everybody listening why you picked it?
I mean, it's everything you just said. I love the movies. I heard pretty good things about the game. I heard it being compared to XCOM, and I like XCOM a whole lot. I like strategy games, all the above.
Mm. All right. Well, yeah. Interesting that it is a strategy game, and I guess I kind of want to talk about that first because it's just really interesting that this is what they chose, right? Because when you think of John Wick, if you know the movies, John Wick, he's an assassin, and the movies are just filled with action, and
They're very fast paced.
Very fast-paced action, yeah, and very, very bloody and very cool, very realistic too. And you would think they were gonna make a John Wick video game, right? That would not be the first thing that would pop into my head, right? I would think first-person shooter or a third-person action game, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But strangely enough, this gameplay actually fits really well with who John Wick really is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so. I mean, there's a certain amount of actions. He does so much in so little that being able to, stop time in this game makes you feel like you're kind of emulating him because you're making quick decisions all the time. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah. And you can take your time and do it because it is turn-based. It is sorta. We'll get to that.
Yeah.
But it's a strategy game. Yeah, sorta. But I guess that's the most interesting thing about it, right? Because it is a strategy game, but it's turn-based to a point. Now, this is where it gets really unique, is that you choose John Wick's actions, and you can move him, you can shoot, you can melee. There's a lot of different options you can do, right? But every time you choose one, it takes a certain amount of time to complete that task. And on the top of the screen, there's a bar, and that bar shows you how many points of a second or how many seconds it's going to take for you to do that. And when you complete your task and you do it, not only do you move, but all the enemies move at the same time.
Yeah.
So
well, once all actions are completed, like time stops completely.
Again.
So you can think.
Yeah. So after you complete your action, time will stop again. Then you get to choose your next one. You can get interrupted by enemies, either if they spot you or if they interrupt your action with one of their own. And that's the other thing. There's the other layer on top of it is the enemies also, when they're in your view, they have their own bar right underneath yours, and it becomes kind of like a video editing software where you have like two timelines, and you can see when the enemy is going to shoot you or when they're going to attack you with a melee attack or whatever, and you can see at what point it's going to happen. So then you have to strategize based on the actions that you have. Well, what can I do to interrupt it? You can either, if they're going to shoot you, you can hide behind something, or you can do an action that's going to be faster than what they're going to do. You can, if your gun is faster, you can shoot them first. You can throw your gun at them. If you're close enough, you can punch them. So it's that's where the big strategy comes in. And I think this is a very unique take on a strategy game, and I've never really seen one like it. And I actually like this. I think it's really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you guys think?
I personally I like it a lot, actually. I found it to be completely engaging. Like, I was always really focused on what I was doing. Like, there was never like a feeling of downtime, because I was always having to manage the time perfectly. Always try to interrupt my enemies. Always try to run away when they're about to get a shot off first. Throw my gun when I have to throw my gun. Usually it's a revolver, because those are pieces of shit.
Yeah, and I just think it's really interesting. I think it's really cool, and it does keep you engaged on what you're gonna do next, and leaves you you're constantly thinking. One thing I want to point out, and I thought this was really cool when I was reading about this game, that originally Bithell, Mike Bithell, the guy, the director of the game, when he was building the game, he was going to make it a turn-based strategy game, right? And it was going to be, typical turn-based where you would move, your opponent would move. And he showed the version of the game they were making to Lionsgate, the executives at Lionsgate Films, and they were concerned that when they looked at it, that John Wick was just standing there getting shot at, right? And they were like, John Wick wouldn't do that. John Wick wouldn't just stand there and get shot at. So he took that advice and he reworked the entire core of the gameplay to do that timeline thing instead, which is really cool. Like, it's really cool that, the executives of the movies looked at it and said, no, that wouldn't be. Because if they didn't do that, we would have probably been turned out with just a very typical, normal strategy RPG with turns, right? And I like that they said that, because we got this instead.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, usually you hear horror stories of how, like, studio interference with their notes, like, just gets in the way rather than, helps make it better, so this is a good change of pace for that.
Right, it is, yeah. I guess maybe it goes to show that people who are involved with the John Wick film franchise are very passionate about it, and they really care about it, and they wanted to have something cool, so, wanted to have something, that was core to John Wick. Was they're like, hey, John Wick would just be like, yeah, I'm just gonna get shot, that's cool, let me just stand here while 4 or 5 people just shoot at me, and not do anything about it. So, yeah, I think that's really neat. I like that happened. So while you play, you do play as John Wick throughout the story, and he's silent, which isn't a big deal, really. They didn't get Keanu Reeves to do any voices. John Wick doesn't say a single thing through the whole thing. But
little disappointing.
A little disappointing, but he doesn't really talk a lot in the movies.
Yeah, even in the movies, he doesn't talk a lot. He's
a man. He's a man of very few words.
True, but I mean, it would have been so good to have him. I mean, just imagine. But not a big deal. Not a big deal.
Yeah, not a huge deal. But the story actually takes place before the original films, before even the first one. There's 3 of them, by the way. But it takes place before all of that. and it's not really an origin story of John Wick.
No, I was kind of hoping that would be the case, but I guess not.
Yeah, but it has a story where Winston and what's the other guy's name?
Karen.
They get captured by a guy named Hex, big muscular dude, kind of Kevin Nash looking guy, and he captures both of them and is holding them hostage, and the reason why is because he wants a seat at the high table. And the high table, and I don't really want to get into explaining all the John Wick lore because
It's just like
crazy.
the government of assassins, basically.
Yeah, basically the people who make the rules and oversee all the rules of all the assassin rules, right? And,
Yeah.
he wants a seat there because he says that it was stolen from him, and it's his right, and he wants that seat, right?
Yeah,
So,
like he spent all of his life leading up to that point, and it just was taken away from him, and yeah, all that stuff.
yeah. So that's his incentive, and John Wick is obviously trying to get his buddies back. I don't know how, they're not really friends.
Yeah,
but
you don't know how close he is to these people exactly. I'm assuming they don't really go into it, like his motivations for saving them, but I'm assuming the high table just sends him to save them or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And Winston and Karen are recurring characters in the movie. They're pretty main characters in the movie.
They are. Yeah. Is Winston? So he's the owner of the hotel,
The Continental.
the Continental Hotel, which is a Continental and like all over. There's Continentals all over the world. And they're the assassin hotels where only assassins can stay, but no business can be done. That's one of the rules on Continental grounds. And Charon is he's like the front desk guy.
Yeah.
And actually the actors Ian McShane and Lance Reddick both reprised their roles for this game, which is cool because you get them. And also the main bad guy, Hex, is done by Troy Baker, who's been in a million things. You might know him as Pain from Naruto, or Yuri from Tales of Vesperia, or Joel from The Last of Us. So he's been in a lot of roles. But they he does a good job as the bad guy. And
Yeah. They make like a good use of these characters. I mean, I feel like they probably felt like they had to, because I mean, they had to make the most of that connection that they had, the voice acting to connect it to the movies. So all the action takes place like within this framing device, with them already having been captured, and you constantly go back to them talking to Hex, while Wick is doing things in different parts of the world, of the timeline. You never
Hex
know
is like he's like explaining the story of what John did to them.
Yeah.
So it's the story is mostly just fine. I think.
Well, it's like it has good storytelling and story building, but are we going into spoiler territory yet, or?
I don't really think we need a spoiler section
There's
of this game.
not
Because
a lot.
there's no ending. There literally is no ending.
Yeah.
It's so disappointing. It's like literally what was you said? It was like a 10-second cutscene.
It's literally
and
like a
that's
10-second cutscene.
That's
If
all
that
it
much.
is basically John Wick reuniting with those two, and it's like they just leave. That's it. Literally, nothing else is said.
Yeah.
Nothing. John Wick doesn't talk. Nothing.
Game just ends. It just ends. It's so abrupt. It's such a weird ending. But it's.
It's a shame because it was not. They did a good job like building it up with Hex, the conversation between Hex and Winston and the other guy.
Yeah, they were pretty good.
Yeah, and in the John Wick films, I really, one of the things I like, obviously the action is my favorite part, but the world building in the John Wick films is just fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Right. Like it's just everything they set up and all the different characters, like just put it all together. It's just fucking really cool. And here it's obviously not as strong, but it's fine. It does what it needs to. It's not overly complex, or like I said, it doesn't tell like any backstory really or anything like that. It's just John saving his people that he knows. I don't want to call them friends because, like I said, it doesn't seem like he's very friendly with.
Yeah,
a lot
if
of
this
people.
is like, I know
People like
the
him,
developers. Yeah, I know that the developers said that this was a prequel, but it doesn't really connect itself to the. Well, actually, technically, John retired at the first film, so this would be during his assassin day. So I guess that's where they would connect it as a prequel. But otherwise, other than that, like you can't really tell it's a prequel.
Yeah, you couldn't put this movie really in between any of the movies because the movie all 3 movies take place in like a 5-hour span. So
yeah, I guess so.
You couldn't squeeze this into it in between. So, like, I was shocked in the 3rd movie when they said something like, you know, oh well, his dog died today, and I'm like, today? Shit is all happened in one day.
I thought it was like a week.
Oh no, it's a week. It's a week. It was a week. Yeah, that's what it is. But it's a very short amount of time because the movies obviously have been a couple of years in between each movie, right? So it's like, you know, when you finally get around to seeing it, you're not like, oh, it's been, you know, a day, you know, or the 3rd movie ends like seconds after the fucking second one ended. You know what I mean? It's like instantaneous. So, yeah, it's just they couldn't fit this movie anywhere else, so it makes sense. And they're making a 4th movie, so they can't really put it after either, so they.
Well, there was a point where technically John did rejoin for a little bit, so it could have been in that during that, but it's not. Yeah.
Well, we know it's a prequel.
Yeah, you know it's a prequel.
It is a prequel. So the game has its art style is it's not like super realistic. It goes for like a comic book kind of art style.
It's a nice cell shaded, it's a nice cell shaded art style. But while the visual style is like a nice choice, what they went for, it definitely needed polish.
Yeah, it looks incomplete or like too rough, like very
really rough.
Yeah, I wasn't a huge fan of it. Like I do like
the cutscenes the cutscenes were fine. And like, what were you gonna say?
I said I do like the colors and like the general style, like you were saying, like the cell shadedness of it. But yeah, like the character models are pretty bad. And one of the things that hurts is that there's a replay system, you know, in this game, sort of like Super Hot. But when you try to watch the replays of what you did, they don't look very good.
No.
I mean, it's a really cool idea. Again, it gives you like these cinematic camera views instead of like the general top-down view that you have. So like you get to see like John enter like the doorways while like the enemies are walking towards him and stuff, and you beat them up and you flip them over and all that in real time, like without the actual pausing. But it's even in the replay mode, there's like glitches happening. So like sometimes like people would walk through a wall or like the top of the doorway, or fucking when John knocks him down, the ragdoll bodies start spazzing out. It's fucking hilarious. Arms start stretching.
Yeah, they get caught in stuff. The sceneries and like they get caught in like doorways and it seemed like your good point is like it seems incomplete. Like it's just they need more polish to it, I guess.
Yes.
Definitely
I mean, like
a
lot more polish.
Looking at those replays, I was just like, I just remembered back to Super Hot, and those are so fucking cool. Like watching those replays, but in this game, it's just awkward.
Yeah, it's very stiff. Everything just looks like the character models themselves, like zoomed in. Like far away, it doesn't look that bad, but once it's zoomed up and like you're seeing it all, and like it's not good. The animations and the character models both don't look good in like full motion, like going constantly. Like it's almost like, ooh, they shouldn't have put this in because it just it does. It's not. It
highlights all the jankiness they didn't try to hide.
Yeah.
Well, they did try to hide with the actual normal gameplay.
Yeah, it makes me wonder if that's a thing they put in after and like didn't like, oh, like what if we did like the Super Hot thing and let you like see the whole replay? Oh yeah, just throw that in and let it happen without like thinking, oh well, we built this system and how is it gonna actually look? You know, I don't know.
I feel it was like a last minute addition. They were like, throw it in as an extra.
Yeah, it's hard to say. I'm gonna give them the benefit of the doubt and say that it is what they did because it doesn't look very polished at all.
Yeah, but it's such a small part of the game.
It is it doesn't actually affect the gameplay, you know. So
thankfully.
and luckily the gameplay itself is the best part of the game. And yeah, it's pretty good. It's pretty enjoyable. I do like, just going through the levels. Basically, the level structure is just basically get from point A to point B. There's really no other objectives other than the boss stages, which is kill the boss and then the level will end. Every single other level is just you start here, you got to get to this point, and then the level is over. So I would have kind of like to see a little bit more varied types of objectives, I guess, to end the level.
Yeah, because it's literally just go to this spot on the map or call the elevator, wait, and then go to the spot on the map. That's it.
Yeah, and the maps themselves are pretty linear. Like, for the most part, there's only one way to go. Very rarely you'll have, like, multiple doors to go through. But
yeah, some very rarely, and even then it's just like, oh, you got two,
Yeah, I'm surprised they didn't have, like, a little system where you have to find the key to unlock the door, and then do something else, or, like, pull a lever, or a little mini puzzle kind of thing. It would be nice, but yeah.
Yeah.
Well, one of my biggest complaints with the game is that you can't really interact with the environment very much. Like, it's all very static. Unless you're, like, pushing an elevator button or opening a door. Like,
those are really the only things.
Yeah, you can't, like, crouch behind something. You can't, like, get cover. You just have to, like, walk around it. You can't break anything. You can't use the environment in any meaningful
you can't
way.
jump over, like, a table or something.
Yeah, oh my god, yeah.
Yeah, or
that would have been
flip
cool.
a table over.
Yeah. That would have been cool, too. Yeah.
Or
just use, like, the environment as, like, weapons, too, because you're very limited to what weapons you can use. That's another thing, like, you have... you start off with a custom gun, and you only have, like, one magazine to it.
One clip, yeah, one magazine.
One clip. But after you run out of that, then you have to use everybody else's gun.
Yeah.
That they drop when you kill them, any of the soldiers. And you're just constantly picking up weapon after weapon after weapon, because each enemy takes at least 2 bullets to die. And that's from the pistol, which is the weakest, but almost, like, the 3rd best gun in the game. We'll go over that in a second. But yeah, you have to pick up every gun, almost every gun that you fucking... make the enemies drop, yeah, and use it.
I go back and forth because I kind of like that system of having to constantly scramble for,
Yeah, I like that, but a little more variety would have been nice. Like, if you were able to use, like, any of the environment as a weapon would be cool. Like, just to pick up a chair and throw it at somebody.
Yeah.
Or, like, knock them over the head with it, or, like, a fucking potted plant, or...
or a pencil.
Bottle, or a pencil, yeah. Or a pencil.
Yeah, because these are all things that John Wick would have absolutely done in the movie.
It's such a missed opportunity with the pencil. We could have finally, realized, because in the movies they always they reference it a couple of times that he killed people with a fucking pencil.
He did it in the movie.
Oh yeah, he did do it in the second movie. It's true.
Yeah.
But it would have been cool to take advantage of that.
Yeah, because it would have fit his character personality more. And one of the things, too, I think I mentioned this to that I was like, damn, I really wish they would let you do, is when you get up and close to a lot of people, and you can do melees and stuff, and takedowns, but I'm like, why can't you disarm them? Why can't that be...
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my god, yes.
Because, like, fucking John would have done that, in the movies. There's an entire scene... I think it's the 3rd movie where he just is constantly disarming people, like ripping the guns out of their hands and using their guns, and then
against them.
He keeps going. Yeah, and like that was fucking cool. Why can't you disarm people if you're right next to them? Like that should be an option. Like it should be, probably something that costs like
focus.
Focus. That's the thing. Yeah, he does have like the focus meter, which certain moves like the takedown cost like one move, like
takedown, dodge, and like
dodging, rolling,
parry.
all that stuff. So that could have been a really cool like insta kill move, but it cost like I don't know, like fucking 6 energy out of 10, or focus rather.
Something, it should have cost some focus to do, and then like, maybe you disarm them and then they act like a brawler enemy if you don't kill them. You know what I mean? But like you should be able to disarm enemies. I think that's a missed opportunity as well.
Yeah, and it would have alleviated like all the moments where enemies were like around you, but you didn't have any guns, like where you just had to melee them. Like if you just would have had that option, it would have been a lot more smoother. It would have made a lot more sense. Yeah.
Yeah. Damn, they should have got us in that room too.
Yeah.
That's a good point. But yeah, I guess those are like my biggest complaints too from in terms of the gameplay. The difficulty, I would say, is a little all over the place too. Like, I feel like some levels are just randomly way harder than others, and then I would go on like a steamroll of like, I just beat like 4 levels with no problem, and then like run into a wall. Like, happened to you guys or not.
2 levels that gave me the most trouble by far was
The bank?
the vault, the bank. Yeah,
Yeah,
where you
that
cornered.
first level and the last level actually in the bank was fucking ridiculous.
Yeah.
Yep.
So like the vault where you're like closed in and they like literally spawn 2 guys with shotguns right in front of you and there's barely any cover you can take. You just have to run around a fucking pillar to hope they don't get you. And then
Pillars are my best friends, by the way.
yes. And then it's the fucking elevate. No, it looks like a fucking elevator level. It's the last level before the final boss.
Yep.
Where you have this just giant like crate-sized area. Well, like a big square in the middle of the room, basically. There's doors on every side where the enemies spawn, and they just keep fucking spawning one after the other. You kill one, another 2 come along. It's just...
Is it infinite? Because I'm not sure.
No, I killed all of them somehow.
I did too.
Because I
killed
just
them all.
I ran to the end, and then I killed as many as I could until I could walk through the door. I didn't stay in the beginning at all. That was annoying as shit.
I stayed at the beginning. I just kept running around the fucking big circle thing.
That's what I have to do, yeah.
Yeah, there was like a thing in the middle that you could like use for cover, and I just kept running around it and just like,
I just hated that though. I didn't want to do it.
that's the only way I could figure out how to cheese the game was to just constantly run in circles and get the guys where you need them. And it's, I mean, at that point in that level, that's what I had to do. Luckily, I beat it on I only took me 2 tries to beat that level.
It took me like 6 or 7. That was ridiculous.
I mean, I got stuck. So in the fucking bank level, so in each, basically, there's like I think 7 different levels, right? 7 different stages
To each map.
to each map. So there's like there's 7 different maps, and I think there's is there 6 or 7?
5 or 6, yeah, around there. Like
I think it's 6
mini levels. Yeah.
But yeah, there's 6 stages in each map, and the first map is like the beginner one, whatever, right? Then you get to the second map, and they're like, okay, well, you plan, you do these planning stage before you start going into the map.
Oh yeah,
and
that's
It's
cool.
reminiscent of the second movie, Like,
yeah, very cool. Just like the second movie, like when he planted all the guns and everything and like prepped. For the big fight he was about to have, very much like that, which is cool. And you also get to spend like the currency that's in the movies, like the coins that the assassins use.
Yeah.
So
And you
that's
get to
kinda
get
cool.
you get the skills basically like little bonuses. Like if you're moving, you have a higher chance for the enemies to miss you when they shoot you.
That's the best
Or
one.
like
That's a
That's the
godsend.
best one. Yeah.
That's the best one, yeah. And then there's another one which is also really good where you have no shooting penalty if the enemy is moving.
Yeah.
And that's those are the 2 those are the ones I picked. Everything else was not as great.
Yeah, I always.
But you
I
have
would
like
always pick those 2.
they have
By the
another
end
one
of the
where
game-
it's like
Go ahead.
Oh, it's okay. So like they have one that's like you don't have a penalty for like long distance shooting. You have one that has your rolls cost less focus.
or
And there's a
you
couple
get
other
more,
ones.
Get
yeah.
more health. You can get
Yeah.
more health. You can have more focus in general. Different things. And the coins that you get, you do not roll them over into the next area.
Yeah, so you have to spend them. There's no
Yeah.
point. Good thing it told me that because I would have been the dumb one and just kept saving and saving for the later and never used them.
And the other
Yeah.
thing you can do with your coins, I just want to mention, is that if you don't buy like a skill up like skills for yourself, you can place either ammo or bandages throughout the stages.
Yeah, so yeah.
The weird
play it.
thing is, some of them it just straight up doesn't let you. Some of them it's like whatever, you can do it. And then other ones it's like this is an expensive stash. It costs you like extra coins. I'm like fucking why? Like usually like it's nearly the last ones or the first one. It's so random though how they decide it. I don't know. It's very odd. But
Yeah,
when
it's usually around the boss where it's more expensive. That's where I figured.
Okay.
But like, I didn't like that part of it, like dropping guns or
Yeah, it
bandages,
felt.
because you never knew how much of a problem you were gonna have in that stage.
Yeah.
like, you didn't know beforehand. Like, oh, it would have been cool if the game said, "Oh, you're gonna face like 20 enemies here," you know.
Yeah,
something
or also
like
you
that.
don't know where they're gonna put it either, so you could miss
Yeah.
miss it if you
Get
forget.
at the end of the level.
Yeah, you get to the end of the level and you're like, shit, I didn't pick up the bandage I left. Luckily, that didn't happen to me. I always noted myself to remember. And it does tell you before you start the level on this little thing.
Yeah.
There's a bandage here.
Yeah, it feels kind of like a waste to use those coins on the weapons, though, because it only gives you one clip, and you run out of the ammo so fast in the
Weapons
levels.
is a complete waste.
It's a
Bandages,
complete
when
waste.
I had leftover coins, I would always use for bandages.
Yeah, bandages were useful.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like I always bought the bonuses rather than place
same.
items, like because placing items was almost useless to me.
So I had that until the last stage when I thought to myself, okay, this is the last area of the game. It's probably going to be the hardest. So I said, I'm going to make sure that I don't get hit. So I bought that one where you don't get hit when you move as often. You know, I was like, that's the best one. That's most important. And then I spent the rest just to buy 2 bandages. So it's like I can have a total of 4 bandages and I can make sure I just don't die. I ended up still having 2 bandages left by the time I fucking beat it. But like, that was the only change. But other than that, yeah, that's exactly what I did. But anyway, I wanted to explain that part because getting to the point of the hardest part of the fucking game, for me at least, was you get to do that prep thing, right? But on the bank, you get captured and thrown into a fucking a bank vault, and there's no prep. All of a sudden, you're just like, cool, I have to start, whatever. I don't get to prep or anything, and you don't even get to do that. So that turned into the hardest part of the game for me, and because I got to the final fucking area, because the first stage was already kind of hard, like Noah said, you start and you're already like 2 dudes like staring at you, and that part was kind of hard. And then when you get to the last part of that part was like the hardest fucking level in the game for me, because I got to the end, I had 3 health, no bandages on that last level. I could not for the fucking life of me beat it. I tried for like an hour and a half fucking restarting that level over and over again. And I was like, I can't do this with just 3 fucking health. I just can't. So I had to fucking redo the whole map. I was like pissed off. I was like, what the fuck? Because like now I have to just redo the entire map from the start and try to do better. And I was just added like an extra, fucking hour and a half or whatever to my playtime because I had to do that, and it just made me mad.
Yeah, that part was pretty hard, but they give you those carbines early on, and that helps you a
Yes, the
little.
carbines and the bullpup shotguns are the best weapons, thank God.
Yeah,
They're fast and they're
handgun.
one shot. Done.
Yeah.
Yeah, other than that, there's and the handgun, there's so many useless weapons. Like the revolver is only good for throwing at people. That's
Yeah,
it.
Yep.
to stun them,
Don't-
yeah.
It takes way too long. The regular shotgun takes way too long to shoot. Like it's just like.
But at
fucking-
least the shotgun has really high accuracy, so you can shoot them from afar, and it will kill in one shot.
Yeah, the shotgun's only good for like brawler enemies or other people with a shotgun. That's it.
Yeah, because they're gonna take just as long.
Machine
to shoot
guns.
as you.
That's one of the things with the machine gun and the assault rifles I do not understand. So when you shoot with the pistol, he'll shoot 1 bullet when you do the
bullets.
shooting action. Well, he'll shoot 2 because if the enemy only has 1 health, he'll only shoot 1. But if the enemy has 2 health, he'll shoot twice. If you have a fucking machine gun pistol, he will shoot. Even if the enemy has 1 health bar left, he'll shoot 7 fucking bullets. No matter what. And he'll just sit there and be like, pat, 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 pat. So if you have like 1 enemy coming towards you, and he has like 1 health, you're like, okay, I'll shoot him. Then all of a sudden you start shooting, after 2 bullets, another enemy appears from the right, and is coming towards you, and you're still shooting at nobody.
Yeah.
And wasting time. It's like, what the fuck? It's the same thing with the assault rifle. Why doesn't he stop shooting once you killed them? I don't understand.
Yeah, it's pretty
Those
weird.
guns are garbage. I hated those guns. They put me in such awkward situations.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They're dumb.
But sometimes you don't have a choice because that's all the fucking enemies
that's
you
all
drop.
you get.
Yeah, that's all you got. Little submachine guns everybody's dropping. That's.
And then the fucking map fills up with fucking guns everywhere on the floor.
Yeah, that one stage.
Yeah, you always have to manage your ammo very as much as you can, and those guns just burn through them so fast.
Yeah, and even the handgun bullets, like the most you can get, like when you pick one up off the ground, is 10, but you like burn through it pretty fast.
Yeah, that's like 3 enemies.
Yeah, I have to you have to constantly make sure that you're for me at least, my thing was if I can lure them into a spot where I can melee them, I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
No matter, every single time.
Yeah, it was a little weird that you couldn't pick up clips. Like nobody had clips.
Yeah, nobody had clips. The only clip is in the game. Like they had a whole dedicated little section of how many clips do you have. You're in your inventory. It's like you have one clip. That's all you get ever in the game. Every start of the beginning, like the first level of every chapter, you only have one clip. You're never gonna see another clip, ever.
Ever.
Nope. It is odd that is a thing that is you never find ammo. You only find other guns. But can't you at least take up the other gun and fucking take the ammo out, take the clip out, put it in your pocket? So hey, now I have 2 clips.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then you would always you go through the whole game with 50 bullets in your handgun.
Well,
I don't know, man.
that would be great.
Maybe it could have been a maximum of 2 clips or something. I don't know.
Yeah, you can only hold so many clips in your pocket or something.
Right.
Something to balance it out more. But
I mean, I guess it is faithful to the movies because John Wick is constantly using other people's guns.
I mean,
he does steal the
multiple clips.
Yeah, he does steal the
Yeah.
clips from them. That's a good point. Yeah. So that actually would have been more faithful.
Yeah, there's times where he has guns where he has a bunch of clips for them,
Yeah.
in his jacket and shit. So yeah, it's a.
That would have been cool,
design.
as a preparation bonus, you find clip, or you can hold clips, or something like that.
Or there's a 10% chance you might get an extra clip when you kill an enemy.
something like that.
Yeah. That would have been a cool skill. Yeah, actually, that would have been a really cool skill to have, to get.
Now that you mention it, I would have liked to see some of those characters from the second movie that he interacted with, that he has all the contacts with for preparation, the gun guy and the guy with the maps. That would have been cool if they were if you went you could scope out some of the maps, you could give that guy coins and he would let you see and plan some of the maps, or for weapons you could talk to the people with the weapons or the suit thing, so you could get upgrades, hold clips or do something, that would have been cool to talk to those people, because they're just one-off characters.
Yeah, that could have been a cool way to enhance the menu system, in the preparation phase.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly.
It's very bare bones. It's just a menu.
Yeah, it makes me think. I feel maybe they didn't have as much time as they wanted to work on this game, especially when it comes to the polish of the models.
Maybe, who knows for sure.
It might be a small studio too.
That's
true. That might be as well. Because it's not like they. It's not, there's a lot that they could do, but it's not like they didn't represent the license well.
No, they did a really good job.
Yeah. And the music for me was kind of I would forget it existed, and then there'd be other times where I was like, oh, this is pretty cool, I'm really liking this music, and then I'd forget it existed again.
Yeah, as long as it fit with what was going on.
Yeah.
Well, was there more than one track? I can't remember.
I don't know.
There was a couple. There was
I'll find out when I put the music track to the video, but I'll let you know.
there was a couple, but some of it felt kind of like that retro. No, what's the word I'm looking for? Vaporwave, kind of 80s aesthetic, kind of music. I feel like it kind of fit the vibe a little bit, but then other times I would just completely forget it was existing. I wouldn't even realize there was music playing.
Yeah,
it was weird. And the sound effects, though, I will say, the enemy grunts were often hilarious.
Oh, they were great. You just start beating somebody up, and they're like, ah! It's so funny.
There was one that kind of sounded like a cat.
Yeah.
Also, gender equality in this game, very well represented, because there was lots of women, lots of men.
You can kill them all.
Yeah.
Kill them all. John Wick.
No discrimination.
No discrimination. If they're in his way,
he's killing them.
There's even some. There's a female boss too at one point.
Yeah.
Because just like
speaking of bosses,
they
are super awkward.
They're really dumb, honestly.
They're not good.
They're just enemies that you have to melee and take down before you shoot them. That's it. That's the whole gimmick.
it's so weird because you chain stun them. Like they can't do anything once you get into melee range.
Yeah, just go like
punch
knock
them
down.
forever.
Yeah, knock down, punch, knock down, punch, knock down, punch. They don't have any focus. Start shooting them. That's it. Game over.
Yeah, I essentially killed the last boss with one like shot command. Like after I stunned him, he was dead. That's it.
Yeah. It was so weird. And every single boss was exactly the same.
Exactly the same.
The only hard part about the bosses were other enemies coming in, like trying to interrupt you.
Yep.
Yeah, and that was rare.
Yep.
Yeah.
That almost never happened.
And even the last boss was like not. It was just so easy. It was so easy.
so easy.
He just dies, and then there's a 10-second, if that. I don't even think it was 10 seconds. To be honest with you, it might have been 5. And then the game just ends. It's just like, that was so anticlimactic. It was so weird. It just, I was like, oh, there's the credits. Here we go.
Especially coming after like one of the hardest levels in the game. It's just like such a contrast.
Yeah,
It's like fucking.
it's not
Jesus.
satisfying.
It's not. No.
Yeah. Really weird.
I was expecting like him to be like on the top of the fucking balcony and just shooting at you while there's like other enemies coming in from the side. That's what I was expecting, like hell. But nope, he's literally walking towards you and you're just like, oh hi, knock him down, dead.
Yeah, it's a small room, and then like the guns that you get from the extra enemies kill him in one shot.
Yeah.
And is he still alive? Did his fist come up out of the ground at the end?
I don't.
Is that what happened?
I did not.
I didn't notice that.
I'm pretty sure it did. Like his hand became a fist.
Maybe.
I think so. I mean, it was so short. Like
It was like 3
blink and you
seconds.
miss it.
Yeah, exactly. It was like not even like 5 seconds.
Oh, stupid nitpick, and I don't know if this was just the PS4 version or not, but because I played on my PS4. But during the cutscenes, the subtitles were not up to pace with the talking. Like
they weren't. Yeah.
Yeah,
that's right.
the talking was like faster than the subtitles. Like the subtitles would take like longer to change over to the next, and they were already talking. And it's such a nitpicky thing, but it drove me nuts.
It's weird.
Yeah,
It's definitely weird.
because I like to read along with the subtitles at the same time, just in case I'd mishear something or So, it was driving me nuts that they weren't lined up. But yeah, I mean, do you guys have any other things to mention that we haven't talked about yet? Because I think I got everything that I wanted to mention. So,
I think that was everything for the most part. Yeah.
Pretty much.
Everything else is just nitpicks.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so now we'll get into recommendations. Whether or not you recommend whoever is listening, whether you recommend them to play this game. So I'll start with you, Ills, because you picked this. Would you recommend this game to somebody?
Yeah, I would. I mean, I even though I had a lot of problems with the game, with issues with the game itself, not that it was hard or anything. I found it very interesting. I like John Wick, the series, so it was fun, playing this game to feel sort of like him a little bit, and yeah. And I like that they had the voice actors from the movies.
All right. Noah?
Yeah, especially if you're a John Wick fan, yeah, definitely play this game. They nailed pretty much what it would feel like to be John Wick. Like I can't think or imagine any other type of gameplay that would suit the character better. So they did
I can
excellent.
tell you that there is another John Wick game, and it is a VR game, so it's first person. But I've never played that, so I don't know how well that is.
Yeah, it doesn't have good reviews on Metacritic or anything like that.
So it's probably not as good as this game.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna say yeah. I mean, yeah, I would recommend this game for sure. Obviously, just like the other guy said. I mean, if you're a fan of John Wick, definitely give this game a shot. Even if you're not a fan of John Wick, you should be, and two, just go watch John Wick. I'm not gonna tell you to go ahead and play this game if you haven't seen John Wick. No, if you haven't seen the John Wick movies, go watch them and then play this game.
It'll just make you appreciate it so much more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I feel like if you didn't watch the movies and you played this game, you'd lose a lot.
Yeah, I agree. Because, it wouldn't be like, oh, cool, I'm John Wick. You'd be like, I'm just some guy who doesn't talk, and like,
Yep.
wouldn't know anything about him. So, yeah. I'd say go watch the damn movies if you haven't. And if you already have, you're good. Play this game. Just fucking play it. It's pretty cool. You know, with nitpicks aside, it's very cool game. But that being said, now it's time to add John WIck Hex to the list.
The list.
You can follow along with the list in the paste bin link in the description below. So every single game club, we play the game and then we add it to the list. The list is an ongoing list from games that we have ranked from best to worst. And every week we add to it on the regular episode, and then every other week for the game club, we add whatever game we played to it as well. So there's constantly getting games added to this list. So we always got to figure out, where it goes. So, Ills, we'll start with you here. Looking at the list, where are you feeling is it like a starting point on where do you think this game should go on it?
Yeah, I wanted to go below Castlevania Bloodlines, so 133.
33 below Castlevania Bloodlines.
134, I guess.
Yeah. Okay.
My one issue is that I like Bulletstorm more, but I think Bulletstorm should be moved up like a few spots. But yeah.
That's fair. And I can actually agree with you on that because I think Bulletstorm's actually a really cool game.
It feels like Bulletstorm just got randomly pushed down as the list kept getting
I think it's just getting pushed down because we're adding games and it's just kind of getting forgotten. So, I agree with you actually.
It's a decent spot.
It's a good spot because I think it is better than Apotheon.
Yeah.
I think it's better than Kirby's Adventure.
I was originally thinking of putting it around the win-back area, but I feel, like the games above Bloodline, like above Apotheon, definitely feel a lot more polished than this game, but not to the... I mean, it's not really a big thing because gameplay-wise, even gameplay-wise, they could have done a lot of things too. It feels more like missed opportunities rather than the bad things that they did. You know what I mean?
For the most part.
Yeah. I agree. And like in terms of like licensed games, even like Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3, both of these games are like very good. I think Ultimate Alliance 3 is more polished as a video game, but I like
the moon section.
Just
fucking ends.
I'm saying overall, it's more polished video game.
Thane.
Right? Overall, it's a more polished game, but I really like the gameplay here in John WIck Hex, so I think I would put that. I feel like I would put it just above. But putting it above Ultimate Alliance, then looking at Kirby's Adventure and Apotheon, I would put it above those as well. So I actually think that's actually a really good spot.
Yep. Sounds good.
So I'm good with above Apotheon, yeah. Go for it.
Okay. Wow. Easy. Unanimous. So that's John WIck Hex is now number 134 on the list. That puts it below. 2 spots above it, we got number 132, Demon's Crest. Game Club game, by the way. 133, Castlevania Bloodlines. Game Club game, by the way. 134, John WIck Hex. And then 135. Well, yeah. If you don't know that, what the fuck are you listening to? 135, Apotheon. Game Club game, by the way. And number 136, Kirby's Adventure. Not a Game Club game.
But below that, no.
Below that, there's some more. Marvel Ultimate Alliance. We did one on that. But yeah, I mean, if you're interested in what we had to say about any of those other games surrounding it, there's a nice little handy playlist on SoundCloud or YouTube where you can listen to any Game Club game that we've ever done. So it's easy to find. With that being said, though, we got a couple things here. Before we go, I just want to tell everybody that if you enjoyed the Jump Up Supercast Game Club, make sure you check us out on your favorite podcast listening service of your choice. We're on SoundCloud, iTunes, and YouTube. New episodes of the Game Club go up every other Thursday, and the normal Jump Up Supercast goes up every single Monday, where we talk about news and other things, what we've been playing, just how we feel about video games or whatever. We just talk about games. And we add a game to the list. every single week. So that's fun. Give us a listen, a follow, a share, a like. Feel free to let us know what you think about John Wick in the comments below, specifically John WIck Hex. But if you want to talk about the movies in this case, go right ahead, because we'll talk about the movies too. Very cool movies. And support us if you enjoy. If you like or enjoy what we do have a Patreon for where $1 a month gets you the chance to vote for a Game Club game that we're going to play. And speaking of that, that's our next Game Club game is going to be a Patreon pick. So wait 1 second here and I'll tell you. But you can also follow us on Twitter, Facebook, or Instagram to stay up to date on everything Jump Up Supercast related, and even catch us playing games sometimes on twitch.tv/Jump Up Supercast. And as always, thanks guys for listening. But Patreon pick time. I did the raffle last night, and our next game was chosen by our Patreon supporter Kevin, and he chose he won the raffle, and his pick was Bust a Groove.
Yikes.
Bust a motherfucking groove. So that's what we're playing next. It was a PS1 game. What else do I know about it? I know fucking nothing else about this game.
I was confusing it with Bust a Move, which I was excited.
I mean, it's easy to get that confused, you know? Bust a Move, Bust a Groove, you know, it's they're very similar in terms of titles, so I mean, it's not a puzzle.
We're gonna be busting something.
We're gonna be busting something, that's for sure. So 2 weeks, find out what we busted. And come back, give us a listen, and find out about this game. And as always, I want to thank Ills and Noah for playing video games with me. And even more importantly, I want to thank you guys for listening. Go out there, play video games, and be nice. Don't hurt John Wick's dog. Don't leave John Wick alone. He will kill you.